It was 2024, my senior year of high school, my final year, ready to graduate. At the time, I still had Snapchat, and that's where I find most of the girls that I try and talk to, try and get with at the time. And so I tried making moves on there until I came across a girl that I added off of Snapchat. This girl had something similar with me. We both went to the same school, but she was a year below me, so she was a junior at the time, and I was a senior. As any other young boy would do, my dopamine, my energy just like skyrocketed. I was like, oh my god, it's the girl. I think it's her. I think she might be the one. So I try and comfortably make a move. I message her on Snapchat as if nothing were to really go wrong. From that point where we started talking, started sending Snapchats to each other, and we got like a big streak until she became my number one best friend on Snapchat. We started talking more. We started getting a little bit closer, you know? And I felt very, very attached to this girl. Like, very. Because I tell you, every single morning I wake up, I respond to her messages. Every time I'm on the bus, I respond to her messages. Every time I'm in class, I try and talk to her. Like, this felt like an attachment. It even got bad to where when I was working at my part-time job when I was still at school, during breaks I'd found the opportunity to try and talk to her there, and while she was not as fully engaged, she was still talking back to me as if I was an option, but I didn't really notice that at the time. So it became like a normal routine to just talk to her and send snaps back and continue this massive streak we've gotten onto. And mind you, it was roughly around February at the time of 2024. As the weeks, as the months go on, I've felt more attached to this girl, like very attached. It felt like it was almost a drug in a way. Like, without her, I wouldn't be happy. Without talking to her, I wouldn't be who I am. And I noticed her energy, the way she was talking to me, she seemed like she was losing interest, but I didn't really notice that at the time. I was still talking to her, and one day, when my friend was driving me to school, she snapped. I was on Snapchat and I opened my messages, and she confronted me on there. She was genuinely so tired. She was fed up with all this messaging. She was not into me. And she was like wanting me to leave her alone after me being attached to her for so long. That hit me, man. I felt like a bullet straight to the heart. My heart sunk. It was brutal. I didn't know how to feel at the moment. My best friend, who's still my best friend today, he was the one who got me to add her, and he also got me to add a friend. Mind you, these two girls, there was one I was trying to get with, he was trying to get the other one, and those two are best friends. And then he said, yeah, how about you go make a move on our best friend? I'm like, no, there's no way. But like any other young teenager at the time, I had the balls to go do it. Not in person, but on her Instagram. I find her Instagram story, I replied to it with some kind of like cute, rizzy line. And she replied with the most awkward reply ever. She seemed so turned off. It was crazy. And that was like a brutal rejection, because she knew I was trying to hit with her best friend. She knew I was trying to get with her. And that was where I finally broke. I started to talk bad about these girls online. I started to just go all on. I lost my mind. I lost my soul. I lost myself. You know, genuinely, I just didn't know how to feel. And it made me just go all on out on the internet, because I'm so used to talking on social media. Like, I have Discord, all those apps at the time. I'm so used to talking online. But I was not ready to confront this situation that was going to happen in person. I talk my talk online until this one school day. I arrive at school, I go in the hallway. Funnily enough, I see that girl. That girl I was talking to for that long, for those months. That Snapchat streak we had, it was that girl. I her down the hallway, and she was with a big group of her friends. There was like 8 of them, maybe 10 of them. They all look at me, and they start saying the things that I said to them online, as if it was like a joke. Then, because there was so many of them, and the hallways were packed at the time at school, it was the morning rush, everyone was going in and stuff, and all those girls, they started walking towards me, and that just got my heart racing. My adrenaline spiked through the roof. So I like any other guy would, fight or flight. I didn't want to confront the situation, so I speed walked down the hallways to get to where I had to go. And these girls were right behind me, chasing after me. And it felt like a horror movie, man. It felt so bad. I was so scared. I was speed walking down the hallways. These girls are still after me. I had my hood up because I was wearing a jumper at the time. I didn't want to be seen, but they knew what I was wearing. I was wearing the Adidas, sweatpants, sweat trousers, whatever, and they knew the stuff I wore, so it was easy to spot me. And they were after me, bro. I was scared for my life. That was the time I felt the most insecure, the most horrified at school, and that taught me a valuable lesson. Honestly, it really did. But yes, I made it to my class safe, and those girls went to their class. That taught me so much. Is to not let your ego, not let your emotions take over just because this girl lost interest and doesn't like you. I let that affect how I felt and let it like dictate what I say to these girls. And that just got me in a worse situation than I was. I went all out on these girls with hatred, with anger on my soul, and I paid the price. I looked at these girls as if they were on a pedestal. I had to show all my energy towards them, just so they could like me, but that's not how it should be. I always felt attached to them, like I said. I didn't really distance myself from them. I felt like my life revolved around them, whilst they didn't feel the same around me. And the truth was, at the time, is that I didn't love myself. I didn't love who I was. Because if I had to describe myself at the time, I was this lonely video gamer who spent majority of his time online, doing non-productive things, trying to get some girl's attention at school who could care less about who you were. And this genuinely taught me so much about myself. After experiencing something so crazy, so unbelievable, one of my worst experiences in high school ever, just made me realize that you have to love yourself before you try and love anyone else. Because I felt so empty. I craved love, I craved validation, but I didn't love myself at the time. And I only got people to just run away from me whilst I was trying to chase them. Sometimes I fall back into this feeling where I gotta try and get this girl's attention of mine. But I realize now that I love myself, I love who I am. I'm strong, I'm happy, I'm fulfilled deep down inside of my heart. I'm amazing. I love who I am, I love the guy I see in the mirror every single day. And that's a blessing. Moral of the story is, love yourself first before you love anyone else. Because you really don't know what could really happen when you end up in situations like these. It really does become a messy and horrible situation. I'll see you in the next video.